All right. Here we go. Thanks for joining the live stream. Just gonna talk about some stuff that I seen, and some of you guys might have seen the trailer. Some of you might not have, and I've been hearing some crazy talk about the Republican candidate, vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance, and that he made a statement about school shootings being a fact of life. And for me, I've heard many different things. So I had to go see it for myself, right? Because I'm not that type of guy. If Fox News tells me something about Kamala Harris, I want to go check it out. If CNN tells me something about Donald Trump, I definitely want to go check it out because they have nothing but bad things to say about this dude. And I want to see where it comes from, right? So when you can't attack Trump, you got to attack his running mate, right? His vice president, his VP. But to that point, when people talked about Biden, they never talked about Kamala. Never. They didn't. Because nobody knew where she was at. Nobody knows who the hell she is. Nobody knows who the hell she is until a couple weeks back. And now she's running for president against Trump. But that being said, let's go. You know, school shooting tragedies are horrendous. They're despicable. They're disgusting. I have children of my own that age from almost 2 to 20 or 19. Excuse me. He's going to be 20 in a few months. So I feel for these parents, right? And I'm going to play you guys a video clip. I'll let it roll right now, but listen to what he's saying, right? And then we're going to break it down. We're going to break it down because I need you to understand who's in charge here and why these things are being said. So let's roll the tape.
The 14-year-old suspect in the Georgia high school shooting, along with his father, are back in jail right now after making their first court appearances. Colt Gray was only in front of a judge for a few minutes. He could face life in prison if convicted. He's charged with 4 counts of felony murder after killing 2 students and 2 teachers on Wednesday. 9 others were wounded just minutes after the suspected shooter was let out of.
So first of all, that's disgusting. A 14-year-old, what kind of hate does this 14-year-old have in his heart that he feels like he needs to murder 2 people and injure many more? I mean, 4 people, excuse me. 2 students, 2 teachers. Like, what's going on here? Okay, and I know people are going to talk about it's it's because the laws weren't strict enough, right? This 14-year-old kid has tons of hate in his heart, and let's keep it going because I want to hear what they have to say about his father.
The courtroom, his father, Colin, walked in for his own arraignment. He sat down in front of the judge and had his charges read to him for the same crime. Colin Gray's arrest affidavit alleges he gave his son a firearm, quote, with knowledge he was a threat to himself and others.
Wow. Irresponsible. That is 100% irresponsible to give a 14-year-old boy who, as he admitted, right, in this story, it's CNN, so it has to be true, that he knew his son was a threat, and he still gave it to him for Christmas. If I was one of the parents of or the husbands or the wives or the partners of the teachers that were involved that were killed, I think I would be very, very upset as well, right? Because you knowingly gave your kid that's I don't even want to say it's a bad judgment call, but that's extreme. That's an extremely bad judgment call. That's irresponsible. I'm a legal gun owner, right? I think that's ultimately irresponsible. As a parent, not only as a gun as a gun owner, but as a parent, as an American, that's horrendous. All right, let's keep the video going.
These charges stem from Mr. Gray knowingly allowing his son, Colt, to possess a weapon. He is in custody at this time. The arrest was made when we had the probable cause to make the arrest.
Our next guest knows the tragedy of losing a child to gun violence all too well. His 14-year-old daughter, Jamie Gutenberg, was killed in the Parkland school shooting in 2018. He's since dedicated his life to fighting for gun safety. Fred Gutenberg joins us now. Fred, thank you for being back on the program. We have you back far too often.
Whoa. What do you mean? I'm sorry, CNN. You said you have him back too often? Like, we're going to get into the amount of school shootings later. But it's unfortunate that this father has lost his daughter in a school shooting, and I cannot imagine that. My deepest condolences. This is back in 2018 at the Parkland shooting, where 17 people were killed. Okay, let's keep it going. I want to hear what he has to say.
Fortunately, but I do want to ask you, what's your reaction to the suspect's father facing charges in this case? What do you take away from that?
Listen, the father should be charged. The book should be thrown at him. The father bought the gun for this kid after the FBI visited and law enforcement visited. The father absolutely is responsible and must be held to account. But listen, I want to say something else because, following the news of the father, there was also a whole lot of other news about comments from J.D. Vance.
And we're going to get to that. I do want to.
Whoa. Okay. Here's why I have a problem with this, right? So now he wants to come on the news and talk about his daughter and school shootings, and I totally understand that, and I want to hear that. I want to hear his story. I want to hear what he's an advocate for. But then if you're talking about politicizing this, I think that's what we're going to hear right now, right? We're going to hear something that's going to be politicized from a tragedy, kind of like the 13 Gold Star service members that were killed, but then Trump was invited, and then he was called out for politicizing that. And so let's keep it going. Let's keep it going because this father obviously has a political agenda, right? But CNN doesn't do that. They don't do that at all. They just report facts.
I'll play that, yeah. I do want to play that.
But it matters.
Yeah.
It matters here because this case, this shooting puts an end to every lie about why we're in the place that we are today. This father, I hope he rots in the most evil place in the universe, along with his son. This was a preventable act of gun violence, and sadly, until we take on the reality that our policy choices and politicians who refuse to make the right policy choices accept the change that we need, this will happen again.
Okay. What is this guy living in a different dimension or country or a different timeline? He's talking about the politicians and the policies that are in place right now. Why this happened and why his daughter happened, his daughter's death happened, right? Back in 2018 when Trump was in office. And that's where I understand, like, right, when When in 2018, who was in office, right? Trump. Now, this father went through this tragic event, losing his daughter, and all these other folks, these other kids, they lost their lives, right? What's your immediate reaction when you're grieving? You want to blame somebody. There's blame. There's 7 stages of grieving, right? And blame is one of them. Like you want to blame somebody, yourself. What you do is you blame the person in charge, right? The person that's at the top. You want to blame the person that's at the top. And who was that person in 2018? It was Trump. It was Trump, right? So no matter what I can say, if I ever had a conversation with this man, with this gentleman, right? Nothing I can say is going to change his mind about who's responsible, ultimately responsible for his child's death, right? It's going to be the gun-loving, MAGA hat-wearing people. That I'm never going to change his mind. I would never want to, because that's how he sees it. That's how he feels. How would I ever try to tell this man, don't feel that way? Let me tell you my views, right? And I think we're in a weird space where we can't talk to each other, and nobody's going to change each other's minds. We're not going to. I would never expect that. I know people are never going to change my mind because of the things that I've been through. So, but back to my original point. In 2018, I can see where his pain's coming from. It's all stemming from his daughter's death. And you have to blame the person at the top, right? But what he also said is about the policies and politicians that are in place that need to fix this, right? And they're not trying to hear it. You're kind of preaching to the choir, bro. I'm telling you, who's we've been here for the last 3.5 years. They have the power to fix it. So let's continue.
Yeah, I mean, the system is riddled with loopholes, as you know, and openings and vulnerabilities. Police say Gray bought his son this gun for Christmas. That's months after authorities first contacted the family about a separate school shooting threat last year. Although this kid denied making those threats. I mean, it's remarkable. I mean, people talk all the time about, well, if there's tougher enforcement and there are visits to the home from authorities, it can prevent these sorts of things. And then it didn't happen here.
Well, can it? Can those red flag laws and those snitching on neighbors can that actually prevent this? And that's a serious question, right? Because look, they already had the writing was on the wall with this kid, right? Officials receive a tip in May 2023 about a school shooting. It was made online. They're not saying it was from this kid. They're not saying it's from this 14-year-old boy. At the time, he probably would have been 13. May 2023 again. Officials interview shooting suspect and his father about, okay, now they're involving him, right? Suspect denied making the threat. Same month, same year. December 2023. Shooting suspect's father purchased gun used in killings as a Christmas present for his son. So what happened between May and December? Right? What happened? I'm only asking because this happens all the time. Right? If everybody's always worried about, oh my gosh, they're watching me on my phone, they're watching me everything, they're watching all the clicks, everything that I do, everything that I swipe on, everything that I contribute to online. They're tracking me. Apparently they're not. You know, this is the same thing that happened with the Trump shooter, right? Thomas, I forgot his name. The weird dude that got his face exploded at the Trump rally. Like, these are all threats, right? So I tie these back into gun laws. All these things already happened, right? And they didn't work in preventing this. this tragedy, right? They didn't none of this. They knew about it. They saw it online. They went and talked to him, and then the kid was given a gun, and then he performed this disgusting act. But it still happened. But why? Law enforcement was involved. There are gun laws in place, and this still happened. It still happened. Let's continue.
Well, listen, and to some extent, in moments like this, we're also subject to local laws. And unfortunately, in the state of Georgia, the laws are not acceptable. They had no red flag law. Okay? There's no safe storage law.
Okay, let's go back to that red flag law. Like, how many people would follow that? Just asking. I'm asking you guys out there. How many people would follow this red flag law and tell on their neighbor, right? Let's just go ahead and say it's a Tim Walz snitch law about COVID. How many of y'all would do it? Not many. Not many, right? So does that really work? Does that really work? Have you ever... I'll skip that. I'm not even going to say that. But yeah, let's keep it going.
Okay. And so, the kinds of laws that smart states and smart communities and on a national level are being pushed now are stopping these things, they weren't in place here.
And Fred, let's talk about what you just mentioned a few moments ago. J.D. Vance, the Republican vice presidential nominee, had this to say about what took place in Georgia here.
Okay, here we go. Here's the big spin. Here they go. Because now, what I was talking about, they're trying to politicize this, right? This father's tragedy and the tragedy of this 14-year-old killing 4 people and injuring many others. Here's the political spin, okay? Democrats, you're probably not gonna recognize it, but conservatives and Republicans, you might see what they're trying to do here, okay?
Here was his response.
Clearly, strict gun laws is not the thing that is going to solve this problem. What is going to solve this problem, and I really do believe this, is look, I don't like this. I don't like to admit this. I don't like that this is a fact of life. But if you are a psycho and you want to make headlines, you realize that our schools are soft targets. And we have got to bolster security at our schools.
So what part of that is not a fact of life? Right? So CNN has been trying to burn J.D. Vance down in the Trump campaign by saying he said it's a fact of life. School shootings are a fact of life. When I woke up this morning and I clicked on TV and I was like, J.D. Vance says that school shootings are a fact of life, and I was like, what? What's this guy talking about, man? CNN just told me that school shootings are a fact of life. But then I had to reset and think about it and be like, well, you know what? There's a lot of things that are fact of life, right? That are disgusting, right? Like child starvation. We have that here in America, right? That's a fact of life. Homeless people that can't afford food, but they can only buy drugs and alcohol on the street by committing crimes and begging for money, right? That's a fact of life. Murder. Man, murder is like the worst, right? Kind of like what happened here. Regardless of all the laws that you throw at it, murder is still illegal, right? But that's a fact of life. That's an actual fact. So when I see this, they're trying to turn it around and say that J.D. Vance is okay with school shootings. No, he's not. He's not. If you understood what he said, let's rewind it a little bit, right? Let's go ahead and let's rewind it. And the first thing that he says, okay? Let's rewind it to the first thing that he says.
what took place in Georgia. Here was his response.
Clearly, strict gun laws is not the thing that is going to solve this problem.
Right there. Gun laws are not going to solve this problem. They're not going to. You know, I understand this father's, I can't say that I understand, right? I'm saying that I understand where he's coming from, but I don't, right? Emotionally, I don't know where he's coming from. But I understand that he's angry and that he wants something done about children killing children and other people, right? But throwing more laws at it and making it stricter, this is where I'm coming from, from a legal gun owner, right? Making it more strict for us to own firearms. That's why I have a problem with it, because criminals don't give two shits about the law. They're going to get it. This little kid, right? And that's the sad fact about CNN, is they're running with this, right? They're running with it about, oh, the father bought the firearm for the son for Christmas and he went out and killed somebody. How many people in the hood get guns illegally for half the price, right? I mean, I'm telling you, I know about firearms in the hood. I'm just letting you know they can be expensive depending on the size drum you want, or the caliber that you want. But they're not. But then there's also the flip side. You can get some for $150, right? Throwaways. People with an ugly heart that want to do what they want to do are going to get guns no matter what. No matter what laws you throw at them. No matter what laws you throw at them. So let's continue, right? So because here's the thing, they're trying to politicize this with JD Vance and saying that he doesn't care about your kids. He said this is a normal thing that happens, and that's not exactly what he's saying. He's just saying that we know that gun laws don't work. We have to find a different way. There's another way, right? And I think it starts with mental health. This little 14-year-old boy that did this, he has some things going on in his brain that aren't going good. You know, the apple is rotten. He's not well. He's not well. So, yeah, let's continue.
Target.
Fact of life in the United States. It doesn't have to be, but it's not a fact of life around the world. But your response.
Whoa. He said it's a fact of life in the United States, but it doesn't have to be a fact around the world, or it's not a fact around the world. Okay. Places like the UK ban guns. So what happens on their subways? There's mass stabbings. I can't stand these type of reporters that just they're trying to get in your feels. They're trying to get in your feels. So let's keep it going.
To that.
Well, but it's not even a fact of life in the United States. There's 115,000 schools in the United States. There are far fewer than 100 school shootings per year. And so here's my response. You know, I joined the Brady PAC as a senior advisor because there is only one way to solve the incorrect assessments and the bad policy prescriptions of people like JD Vance. And
Whoa. Bad policy prescriptions of people like JD Vance. He's not even in office, right? Once you guys cheat, once the cheating is done, Kamala is probably going to be president with Tampon Tim. So what are you talking about? Who's in office right now? I can't stand people that pass the blame and try to politicize this tragedy.
It's to make sure we get them out of the world of politics and we get them out of any decision making when it comes to our public safety.
And that's what America is worried about right now. Kamala is a threat to the majority of the United States' safety. But yeah, it's JD Vance, man.
What JD Vance says is a fact of life. Well, for me, that would be true. I visit my daughter at the cemetery.
Wait, say that again. Let's rewind it. What did you just say? What did you just say?
A fact of life. Well, for me, that would be true. I visit my daughter at the cemetery. But I will tell you, last year, we invited every member of Congress to walk through the Parkland school where my daughter was shot. It is still an untouched crime scene. The blood is there, the DNA is there, the coursework was still on the desks as if the kids had just walked away from them. JD Vance never showed up.
Members of Congress. Nobody from Congress showed up, right? JD Vance never showed up. Okay, let me see if he was in Congress around that time. But I'll have to check that. But yeah, let's see who did show up, okay?
He didn't come. But you know who did? Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris came and walked that building with me.
Holy moly, man. Kamala Harris did she show up because this is like it's in Georgia. It was close to DC, right? It's not like the border, right? It's not like Washington D.C. at Arlington National Cemetery. It's not like that. Those places are too far for her. But Georgia, she can make it. She can make it, man. So she'll go to school shooting victims, schools, right? Which is a tragedy, and that actually celebrates, in my opinion, it celebrates like the shooter when you do shit like that. But she couldn't go see the 13 fallen service members, which is right there, close, man. You know, I mean, where's the vice president's office? Is it at the White House? And where's that at? Is that in Washington D.C.? Is that close to Arlington National Cemetery? I'm not sure, man. I mean, I've never been to Arlington National Cemetery. Actually, I have. I've actually been to Washington, D.C. So I'm glad that she showed up for this school shooting. I don't know when. He's saying that she did, but it's CNN, so I can't really hold too much. It can't hold too much water. Let's see, because I thought this guy was going to talk about, you know, some real facts about preventing stuff like this instead of politicizing it. So let's keep going.
Because rather than thinking this as a fact of life that we need to accept, she wanted to see everything that led to the tragedy that could have been done to stop it, and how we actually need to rethink schools and public safety going forward in a world where there are 400 million plus weapons that aren't only making their ways into schools, but making them to political rallies.
Oh, wait. So she went there in 2018 to see what happened and how she can stop it? But then that was in 2018, and then here we are 6 years later while she's in office, and it happened again. It happened again. Fuck, dude. Kamala is how long is it going to take you, girl? Like, you went over there in 2018 and you saw what it's going to take. You saw what it's going to take to stop this. And here we are in 2024 under almost your fourth year of being in office, right? And they're making it seem like she was the president at the time. This guy is. Apparently, like I said, he's politicizing this whole thing, saying that Kamala showed up. why didn't Joe Biden show up? Because we've been told that he for the last 4 years he's of sound mind. And dude, what are you guys talking about? The Democrats continuously lied to everybody, to the American people. They lied to us. They told us that nothing's wrong with him. Why didn't he go? Why didn't he go? Why was it Kamala? Mention that down in the comments. I want to find out. I want to find out why. So let's continue with this this guy who's I really feel bad for this man. You know, he's lost his daughter. He's grasping at straws here for almost like fame, and he's using his daughter to politicize the election, to politicize. And you know what? Shame on you, CNN. That's disgusting, dude. That's disgusting that you would ever do this to a man who lost his daughter. Hey, would you like to talk about it? Yeah, he'll come on and this is crazy. Let's continue.
I mean, J.D. Vance forgets Donald Trump was shot just a couple of months ago. And so this is not something we have to say is a fact of life. It is uniquely American, but it is also a fact of failed policy and failed politicians, and we get to fix this with our vote.
Exactly. Who voted for this 4 years ago? Who voted for it? We could fix this with our policy and our politicians. We could fix it with our vote. This just happened. What are you talking about, bro? Like, what are you talking about? This guy, he's already turned. I don't know how much they're paying this guy. They're paying him. I guarantee it. I'll fucking look it up and I'll find it and I'll make sure to tell you guys, and I'll follow up on the story because I don't like this. I don't like celebrating death for political reasons like this scumbag's doing.
Right, and one of the other facts of life is that the polls show that a vast majority of Americans want tougher background checks. They want a whole host of gun safety laws that just aren't.
Oh, we do? Yeah, we want a whole host of gun safety laws when there was just an entire gang with weapons, illegal immigrants, illegal Venezuelan immigrants that just raided an apartment in Colorado, among other places. That's another podcast. But hey, if they're carrying guns on their backs, right? And they cut through the border and they get through and they make it, right? Where do those guns go? Do they just like dissipate? They disappear off their back once they get into the United States, or do they have those to hold hostage an entire apartment complex? Because gun laws work, and I think most Americans care about the safety of our border right now. Most smart Americans, right? It's not the let them all in Americans. It's the let them in, make sure they are who they say they are Americans, like myself. Let's continue.
Aren't getting through the Congress because of opposition from the gun lobby, and that too is a fact of life. I mean, that's just a fact.
It's a fact.
These laws can't get through the Congress, and they can't get signed by the president because of the gun lobby. That's a fact of life.
It's a fact of life. You know, Jim, I'm going to tell you, about 2 months ago, I visited the ATF, Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms Facility in West Virginia, where they are responsible for storing every transaction related to the sale of a gun. And because of Congress, this is a fact of life that we all need to deal with, and we need to fire those who are behind it.
Yes, I agree. If you just visited them a few weeks ago and you saw that it was unfit, we should fire those responsible. But who's been responsible for the last almost 4 years? It wasn't J.D. Vance. It wasn't Donald Trump. But let's continue with this propaganda.
Because of Congress, they are congressionally mandated into not updating the storage of those records. They are literally held in 30,000 boxes on pieces of paper. Because of Congress, they're not allowed to update.
So is this fact, or is this just because he took a field trip there to ATF? Because I'm pretty sure the ATF isn't just going to let this man in. They're not just going to be like, hey, come on in. Let me show you all the problems that we're experiencing and how we don't have our shit together. Come on in, man. I mean, I know you experienced tragedy, but come on in. We're going to show you. We're going to show you how effed up we are here. So that way you can go back and report it to CNN. That's not what happened. Like, this guy has to be real, man. I think there's a little bit of a telling tales out of school here. But you guys can say what you want. I'm thinking outside the box. I'm actually listening to what he's saying.
The ATF has to go to Adobe and say, we're going to pay you money to dumb down your software because we're not allowed to store digital records here. That is because of Congress. Because of Congress, the ATF, which is responsible for helping to track gun transactions that would put guns in the hands of people who shouldn't have them, or to solve gun crime.
And I agree with that. People, look, I love my gun rights, but I've earned my rights, right? I believe that there's plenty of people on this planet in our country that do not need to have firearms.
Crimes, they are prohibited from doing, from doing their job. That's a fact of life. But
quit saying that, dude. Quit saying that.
It is a fact of failed policy from failed politicians who we can fire.
Oh my God. CNN, you better cut the feed. He just said from failed politicians who we can fire. I'm trying to figure out if they were trying to make that against JD Vance. But if you watched it how I watched it, you'd understand. Who's been in the White House? Who's been the co-pilot the entire time for the last 4 years, man? You know, like I said, I'm just breaking this down, and I never want to ever feel what this man has felt. But on the other side of it, I would never politicize or make people feel bad for who they voted for, or blame it on somebody who's not even in office, right? Because ultimately, who's captaining the ship? Who's running the ship right now? And as Americans, I think you guys should ask that question. Why are we not asking that question? Why are, for you Trump haters, like, why are you guys not asking the question? Oh, well, yeah. Is it just because it's anybody but Trump? But where's Kamala? I need my girl to get out here and represent me. I need to get her. I need her to get out here and tell Trump why he's garbage, right? As a Democratic voter, don't you want that? Don't you want that? Don't you want her to tell you that everything's going to be okay? I mean, I think I would. I would. You know, carrying on to this gun violence, right? Because, like I said, don't punish us law-abiding citizens with these criminals. Don't lump us in there, right? So this headline, it reads, more than 40,000 people killed in gun violence so far in 2023. But I want you guys to see this right here, right? So 40,000 people killed in gun violence. What does gun violence entail? Right? Mass murders, mass shootings, anything that involves a firearm. Discharges, accidents, as they call it. More than half of all gun violence deaths this year were deaths by suicide. This is in 2023. 2023. So going back to this, the school shooting, right? Yeah, that's horrific that somebody would go and do that, right? But there are so many other people, right? There's people that actually commit suicide, right? I hate to say that, but they do. I had a best friend that did that. Nobody could have stopped him. Nobody could have stopped this man from ending his life. Not one person, right? Because he didn't say anything out loud. There were signs, right, that you could there were telltale signs, right, that anybody could say, "Oh man, he's got some mental health issues," but nobody's gonna say the quiet part out loud and try to stop him, right? And then he did what he did one night on his birthday, and but anyways, you can't prevent what's going to happen with more laws. You can't. You can't. You could throw more laws at it. You can throw stricter ammo laws at it. You can restrict the amount of ammunition that people are buying. These things are still going to happen, right? It's kind of like the border, right? Just look at the border. Like I'm bringing up concerns that we all have right now. The smart Americans, right? We care about the border. We want people to be vetted, right? We want people to come into this country. I do, at least I do. I'm all for immigration. I am, and I'm telling you this. I want people that want opportunity to come into this country legally, right? Now there's hundreds of thousands of people that are coming in this country illegally. But we have border laws. So how is that stopping the legal immigrants from the illegal immigrants? How is that stopping them? Right? It's kind of like the gun laws. Don't stop the good folks that are trying to protect themselves, because that's all I have my guns for, right? I have PTSD. I'm ready for World War III. I've been ready since 2001 when I got out. I've been collecting firearms, right? So I'm ready. Like it's because I have a worry that we would be here in this state today, and here we are. Here we are. But I did it all legally. So if you're trying to tell me that gun laws work, they absolutely don't. Because, look, I'd like to fancy myself a gun enthusiast, but there's people that I know that don't have any permits to carry. They don't have any legal right to carry a firearm, but they have it anyways. They have it anyways. And I think that's my point. My point is, it's kind of like drugs. Drugs are illegal, right? Drugs are illegal. They're illegal. We need to crack down on drugs. Then why, if I go to Circle K right down the street, is there somebody just doped out, zombied out on fentanyl? Who's stopping that guy? Who? We have laws. We have laws in place, man. We have laws. That blows my mind, because I honestly think that we just don't have any clue of what we're doing, and we're just going to let things happen. And that's the state that we're in these last 4 years. Right? Now I'm politicizing it, because I'll tell you, 4 years ago, I wasn't here. I was not here. I was not in this place in my life. I was actually doing way better than I'm doing now. And I think I'm doing good now. But I'm a little upset because I could be doing a whole lot better. And that's just the competitor in me, right? That's the poor boy that grew up, worked his way up, took all the stupid jobs, got it, became a Marine, and made something out of myself, right from the bottom. I'm not a product of my environment. I'm a product of my choices. Man. But let me click on this video right here, because I still want to continue with this gun violence bit, because this does strike a chord with me because I want legit people to protect themselves. So here we go. Let's watch this. ABC, by the way, they hate the Republicans.
The Gun Violence Archive has now tracked 632 mass shootings so far this year in the United States. That's significantly more mass shootings than there have been days so far this year. ABC News Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas joins me now. Pierre, I do want to get your thoughts. We just got an update from authorities in Las Vegas on this shooting at UNLV. What do you make of the suspect's motive and what we saw play out there?
Well, we're still, gathering information, but it's clear that it may be tied, and I emphasize the word may be tied to the fact that this man had sought employment at universities in Nevada and specifically UNLV. Mm-hmm. So authorities now can breathe a little easier, at least in Washington. It is not necessarily tied to any kind of massive terrorism plot or anything like that. But for those who lost their lives and who were injured, it's just as devastating.
Absolutely, right? Nobody's fault. Let's not politicize it. This tragedy that happened was nobody but the shooter's fault, right? It wasn't a Democrat. It wasn't a Republican. That's what I'm trying to tell people, right? That's what I'm trying to tell you, whoever's watching, the 16 of you. Is that, this isn't a political thing. So when I hear J.D. Vance, he made this comment, it's the 14-year-old kid that had access to a gun from his father and had evil in his heart, and that's why he did this. Let's continue.
It's not a federal case in the sense of something that the FBI will have to take the lead on, but clearly an example of the tragic gun violence that we see playing out time and time again at every sector of American society.
Absolutely. Every sector, not just white America. Go to the hood. Go to Compton. Go to Oakland. Been there many times. This shit happens in any neighborhood, but when it happens in Georgia, everybody's tripped out.
You can say shopping centers. You can say houses of worship. You can say movie theaters. It's happened everywhere.
So it's happened at movie theaters. It's happened at grocery stores. Can we agree that it is a fact of life? Can we agree that this is a fact of life? And if you can't, then you're blind. You're blind. These things happen. Murder is a fact of life, right? In school shootings, that's considered murder, mass murder. School shootings, mass murder. That's a fact of life. People stealing, that's a fact of life.
Well, and I want to broaden our conversation out, Pierre, because you spent years reporting on gun violence and those innocent victims. You recently interviewed a 13-year-old girl, Alea, who was caught in the crossfire. This was for your special One Girl, One Bullet. You also spoke to her doctors. Let's take a listen to some of that piece.
Her heart stopped once en route, and they were able to perform CPR, give her medication, restarted it. When she got to the Atrium Cabarrus facility in the emergency department, her heart stopped again, and they had to perform emergency surgery on her chest to open it up.
What do you want to be able to do? Freely, without crutches?
Walk. Mm-hmm. That's what I've been wanting to do for the longest.
See, God bless her, man. Because if he asked me that question, what do you want to be able to do? I'd be like, I want to shoot that mother who shot me. That's what I want to do. And walk. Walk would be my second. Walk would be my second thing that I want to do if somebody put me in this poor young lady's situation.
So she just wants to walk. Pierre, what did you discover in telling Alea's story?
Well, a number of things about that story stood out to me. Number one, children being killed by gunfire is the leading cause of death of young people in this country.
Okay, let's break that down. Children being caught in gunfire is the number one death from gunfire, right? Drive-bys. Drive-bys. It happens. I've seen a house get 693 shots into the house. Children die. Children die. Children die in the hood. Children die in the ghetto. Children die in the housing projects. They're all children. And when you talk about children, you're talking about 17 and younger. That's honestly, I mean, I'm 45 years old. Children to me is 21 and below. I mean, they're babies to me. But notice they said children are dying. They didn't say school shootings. They said children. They didn't say where it's happening at. Right? So and that's the question I want to ask. Like, is school safer than where they're coming from their homes? Right? It's kind of like what Tupac said. He's like, just because I'm neighbors with the gangsters and killers doesn't mean I want to be part of them, right? He doesn't. People that live in the hood and in the projects and in the ghetto, there's a lot of stuff that happens there. There's a lot of children that die there, but we don't talk about that. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about it at all. But that's a fact. Let's continue what this gentleman has to say.
That's a recent phenomenon. And despite the fact that gun violence has actually gone down a bit in the last 2 years, it's stubborn when in regards to young people. And in fact, more young people are being shot and killed than was at the time of the Newtown massacre in Connecticut, when all those little children were killed at the elementary school. So this is an ongoing chronic plague.
Yeah, I agree. But he said something that kind of struck a chord with me. And he was talking about that it's a recent phenomenon, right? It's a recent phenomenon. And I want to show you guys this, right? And this is from usafacts.org, right? Usually when it's a org, it's legit. So if you look at this pink line right here, it says total firearm deaths, right? You got 40,000 from 0 BC, I guess, to 1990. It really spiked in 1993. Wonder what was happening there. Does anybody remember the year before? There was some riots in LA. Anyways, then you can also see suicide, which is this blue line. Look at that. Look at that thing. Homicide. Here we go. Bam. Legal intervention, which would be policemen, security, operations of war. So now you're talking military, right? And cops, right? Here we are down here at the bottom, right? So this is the margin. Look at this, the disparity. Let's go 2016, right? When that racist came into power, right? I want to make a point here. 495. Well, now it says unintentional law enforcement killings, right? 484 of war, right? Well, let's go up here. 2016, 14 in homicide, right? 2016, Donald Trump got elected. What is this? What does this do? Oh, this is homicide, right? Homicide, okay. Because I know you guys like facts, right? Democrats love facts, not feelings. They love facts. So let's go 2016, 14,000. And then let's go to, when did he get out of office? All right. So it's kind of like a little bit of a line. But look, 2019, right before he got out, right? Kind of steady. What happened after he got out of office? Did it shoot up? Did it shoot up? It shot up. It shot up. Oh. Wait. So when he was in office, 14,400. Okay. But then he's out of office and it goes up to 20,000. Whoa, dude. Okay, well, maybe that was just a fluke, right? So let's go to suicides, right? Okay, 20. Okay, they rose, right? Man, look, people just started ending their own lives, right? What happened here? What happened here? Pandemic? Was it policy? Was it pandemic? Was it the fact that everybody was locked down in their homes? Was it the fact that schools were shut down? Was it the fact that they closed beaches down? Thanks, Governor Newsom. Was it the fact that they shut all these things down? They ruined people's businesses, ruined people's lives. There was fathers, mothers that owned personal small businesses that lost everything for their kids, and maybe they kind of took their own life, right? 24 went up to 26. Right? So then if you look at the total amount, right? Total firearm deaths, right? Let's go from this hateful bastard. I won't even speak his name, right? He's like Voldemort. Trump 2024. In 2016 when he got elected, there was 38,000 total deaths, right? 2019, 39, right? 38, 39. He gets out of office. Pandemic hits. We have these psychos, radicals in office. What does it go to? What do you guys think it went to? Let's see. 48,000. 48,000. So we went from 39,000. Almost, if you're rounding it up, almost 10 more thousand deaths by firearms. Now, was that policy? Was that law? Was that gun laws? Did that do any good? Right? Back to what that father, that grieving father was talking about. Is that policy? I'm only asking because I don't believe it's policy. I think there's things, that happen in our world, regardless of who's at the top. People are going to do what they want to do. And as you can see right here, 2019, the pandemic hit. People started losing their lives. People started losing their lives. And this is only firearms, right? This is not all cause of death. To 2021. So if you want to talk facts and numbers, and not just emotions, right? Come watch my channel, because I'll put it to you. That's all. And I respect debate, but nobody's in the chat checking me. Ah, man. But yeah, that's all I had. That's all I have for today. Thank you guys for joining me for this live stream. Hopefully next time we can have a few more viewers. And yeah, I appreciate you guys, man. This has been fun. Tune in. Share the channel. What's up, Serge? You missed everything. You missed it all. I've been going for an hour and 4. Shit. Hey, you want to call in, dude? You want to call in? If you call in. Let's see here. Oh, you did? Oh, damn. Thank you. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. But I also want to hear what people have to say. So why didn't you chime in, sucker? I'm on a little bit of a delay, so. Let's see. Dude, was it a groove though? If you can talk, you can call in, dude. You could be on the show. My phone is already tied into the to the stream, so. Okay. Can I give you a bubble bath? Prove it. All right. So yeah, that was my best friend of almost 30 years in the chat. So, share it. I'm gonna go ahead and end this this stream, and thank you guys for joining. All 18 of you, I appreciate it. Next time, be more active in the comments so I can talk. And I love y'all because I love America. So, peace.